I think possible Nintendo Switch 2 jealousy, or maybe even being scared of what's possible with the Nintendo Switch having a such more advanced or newer architecture than over what the Nintendo Switch offered, has got some people a little on edge, especially the console warriors, the hardcore fanboys that have to have their favorite piece of plastic win more than the others and simply don't play or buy the games from Nintendo or other systems as they prop up their system of choice online, on videos, or whatever the case is. Now, and I've said this once, I'll say it again. Obviously, I cover a lot of JRPG stuff and Nintendo here, but I have all the systems, been buying all the systems since the 6th generation, since I can afford to, and I will continue to do so when it comes to playing games and all that. Looking forward to Grand Blue, looking forward to whatever's coming out on any of these other platforms. But I find it funny that this whole talk and this whole, I would say, blowing up on X or Twitter about the Nintendo Switch and it being PS4 and that's not good enough and all of that, I find that to be a very interesting topic of discussion. Now, I already talked about it in my previous video discussing the Nintendo Switch silliness, and we went over some of the comments, but I really started thinking about it, and for the first time, I actually went through the original post. I put a separate post, but I went through the original post of kind of what started this about Nintendo Switch 2, it's washed, or Nintendo's washed, and all this other stuff like that, and I read through what people are saying. And I looked at some of the profiles, and I won't show anything here, but it seems to be a lot of crazy Sony fans. The fans that are going to sit there and buy The Last of Us Part 2 again, or The Last of Us over and over. Seems to be it's a lot of them and kind of like their kind when it comes down to it. So that has me thinking when it comes to these crazy fanboys that are hitting the like, and there's thousands of it. I don't think it's really widespread. I don't think it's something to where it spans to lots of gamers. I think lots of gamers are very excited, but I think that the thing that scares them is the fact that the Nintendo Switch was able to sell 130 million units plus. It could become the best-selling system of all time, with graphics in terms of what people think it's at around an Xbox 360 or a PS3 or slightly above that. Remember, it did that all the way up until this point. From 2017 all the way up until this point, it's been able to sell what it's been able to sell, when many of these people said that it's going to flop, that it's not going to do well. So they have to have a little bit of a healthy obsession, or I would say paranoia, with this system doing better than whatever they like. Now, I talked about that, but I think it even goes a bit deeper than that. And we're gonna go ahead and discuss it a bit more here. But before we do, what's good everyone? OJ here, welcome back to another video. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, and click that notification bell to get my videos first. Now let's jump back into this because it had me thinking quite a bit. Now, if you have a Nintendo Switch 2, a system, and let's just say, for the sake of argument or discussion, that it is the level of a PlayStation 4, a PlayStation 4 Pro. Now, you have to realize PS4 and PS4 Pro, they have terrible CPUs, right? The CPU on those were not necessarily great, and it's all but confirmed when it comes down to it that the Nintendo Switch 2 will have a much better CPU in terms of computing speed, power, all of that good stuff. So it's going to be better than that. And when it comes to the GPU, or when it comes to obviously ARM architecture, kind of putting everything together, efficiency and all that, we know that the Nintendo Switch 2 will be better than the PlayStation 4, considering how old that system is and the x86 architecture compared to newer architecture, newer graphical techniques, DLSS and other things that Nvidia is doing with their latest mobile graphics chips. So that's not really something that I'm too concerned about, but I know that these people that are saying this are concerned about it. And you know why I know this? Because look at the games that came out at the end of the PlayStation 4's life. And we're not even talking about PS4 Pro only, which there are no games, but playing on a PS4 Pro, but simply a base PlayStation 4. We're gonna go through some of those games. Ghost of Tsushima, okay? Look at how good this game looks. Look at the flowing areas. Look at how the fidelity is. This is a straight up PlayStation 4 gameplay. Look at Final Fantasy VII Remake. Look at how good that game is. Look at The Last of Us Part 2 on a PlayStation 4. Look at how good these games look running on the old architecture, running on an x86 older architecture and a tab and the CPU that's not great. Look at how good everything looks here. Nintendo Switch 2 with this type of access to newer architecture and a system that's capable of doing this has them sweating a little bit, has them sweating because the Nintendo Switch, in their eyes, is so weak, is so bad, is so crappy. Everything looks terrible. And now you're jumping it all the way up to this point and better because of DLSS, because of newer architecture. That worries them a bit. It worries them that it'll outsell their favorite piece of plastic. And that's the funny thing to me. It's not about, oh my gosh, they need to be up to the PlayStation 5 and all that, because they know good and well that you can't have a hybrid system that has PlayStation 5 graphics inside of a portable form factor and have that be affordable, have it have battery life, and it be affordable to actually make games on it. It's just not logical, because the Steam Deck, I went through and I looked at some of these people's profiles. They were praising the Steam Deck, and that's not a system that's as powerful as the PlayStation 5. That's not a system that's going to be up there with the Xbox Series X. That's not a system that's going to be up there with the highest end graphics cards. But a lot of these people were sitting there and praising it and buying the Steam Deck OLED and completely happy, but all of a sudden very angry. Somehow this system that's probably going to be $400 isn't more powerful than a PlayStation 5 or up to the level of a PlayStation 5, which obviously, it's not going to be that in order for it to be logical overall. And they know this, but it's just something. That's why I think it's a little bit of being scared. They are scared about what Nintendo's going to do, the market share it's going to take, the attention that it does, because it's narcissistic. That's what narcissist gamers do. They want everything to be focused on what they like, and if it's not up to what they like or what they want, they'll sit there and attack another platform over and over as if it's against them, like as if it's like a sporting event and it's going against their team. And that's what I've realized with a lot of these people, and that's the analysis that I kind of wanted to look a little bit more in depth. And I looked into a lot of those people saying those things, and why would they say that, considering what the PlayStation 4 is capable of, considering what graphics are capable of with the 8th generation of systems. We saw how incredible games looked, and we all know, when it comes to anybody that knows anything about graphics or knows anything about Nvidia and what they're doing with their newest chipsets, you know that it's going to be even better. You know about DLSS. We got reports from very credible sources that the Nintendo Switch 2 is running the Unreal Engine 5 Matrix demo and running it looking good with nice ray tracing. So to me, it's one of those things to where it really kind of sets into them that, wait a minute, this could be way bigger or way better than whatever they like. This could sell better than what they like. It takes away from the spotlight of what they like. So therefore, what do? Sit there and make assumptions, sit there and say it's not good enough, sit there and say all these different things that you don't even apply to anything else, or you don't factor in the fact that it needs to be $400, or that the law of diminishing returns is a thing. Now listen guys, when the Nintendo Switch 2 comes, it's going to be just fine. It's going to look good, games are going to run good enough, everything's going to be okay with the system, especially with what Nvidia is doing lately. Now, I'm not expecting some type of super graphical powerhouse like a PlayStation 5, but then again, I'm not expecting it to be the size of a PlayStation 5, and I expect it to be somewhat affordable, so like $400 or less. So that's the reason why that I feel that things are going to be okay. And with ARM and the efficiency and the architecture, you're going to get some incredible looking stuff, and more importantly, you're going to get some very efficient looking stuff when it comes to how the games are developed, when it comes to the APIs, when it comes to the development tools. All of that stuff's going to be more modernized and more efficient than the Nintendo Switch ever was. And that is the very exciting thing for game developers and for Nintendo and for everybody that's involved, people covering the system, the games that are coming, what we could get. That's super exciting based off of everything that I've been hearing so far. But we are going to move into another topic here, guys, and that's going to be Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Some interesting information came out from Video Games Chronicle, VGC over there with Andy Robinson. He talked with the Ubisoft source that he has, or from a source from within the company probably, that Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope actually sold around 3 million units, and it's in line with what Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle did in the same time frame. Now, the thing here is that this game was heavily discounted, quite a bit, right? Heavily discounted, so sales have picked up considerably since the beginning. And I think that people kind of realize that with Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battles. If you bought the game for 60, it was already like 30 or 40 not too long after it released, and it ended up being like anywhere between 10 to $15, $20 or so afterwards, and it sold really good throughout the whole life of the Nintendo Switch, even up till when Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope came out. Now, according to the source here, there was obviously the back and forth, right, when it comes to Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope and Ubisoft saying it didn't perform up to where we wanted it to be. We kept on seeing it in terms of the back and forth. We kept on seeing it being at the top of the sales charts when it comes to Amazon and when it comes to Nintendo eShop. So the game was selling, but Ubisoft didn't say exactly how much it did. They just said, hey, you know what, we were not happy with the sales results. I think they were expecting a lot more considering the larger install base of the Nintendo Switch. And the article gets into some of that and what's going on there and how they expect it to sell over time. But not at this point, selling 3 million copies or right around there, that's actually pretty solid overall if you're looking at it from, let's just say they made $20 per a copy, right? I'm not counting the copies that were sold at the launch for $60 or $40 or whatever people got, but let's just say an average of 20. I mean, if they sell 3 million copies, that's $60 million. So if that's $60 million, I doubt the licensing and the development cost for this game exceeded $60 million, which would exceed the price for a game like Ghost of Tsushima, which I don't think it got up to that level. So I think that the game now is becoming very profitable for them. Now, Ubisoft has already stated that they will take this game, they will update it and put it out on the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, I think what they should do is that they should take Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle and Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, put them together in a double pack, very similar to the Assassin's Creed stuff that they did on the Nintendo Switch, and sell that for $40. And if they do that, that would be a huge proposition for people who have not played the game. If you put that out there at launch or near launch, that will do well. People will pick that up very much how like they picked up the Mario plus Rabbids game at the beginning of the Switch's launch. It will intrigue people if everything's running way better, 1080p 60 frames per second or better than that when it comes to the DLSS. I think that would be a huge boost for the game. And on top of that, Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope, Nintendo told them to wait for it. They didn't listen. Nintendo literally told them. The CEO of Ubisoft said, yeah, we should have waited. Nintendo let us know when it comes down to it. We made a mistake on that one, but we will update it. But I think that if you have a stronger system that can do a bit more, I think Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope becomes a better game. Now, the first game was chapter based. You kind of went through and there was set battles. It wasn't like, okay, I can just kind of free range and battle where I want to. That was a problem, I think, with them developing that game for the Nintendo Switch because of the loading times. There's a lot of loading times, and the game kind of lost its identity as being in the Mushroom Kingdom and being about Mario with Rabbids there, and became more of like a Rabbids or Ubisoft cosmic stellar space exploration thingy on different planets, and that wasn't as compelling as seeing the different kingdoms in the Mario universe, right, or the different areas that were very Mario themed. So I think that was a problem with selling the game. Plus, games like Fire Emblem came out in between, 2 Fire Emblem games in between. I think people also bought the game just because they were waiting for Fire Emblem as well to hit the Nintendo Switch. So I think if you take those games, you put them both in way better resolution and frame rate, and you put that on the Nintendo Switch in a double pack, that is a very compelling package overall, and I hope that they do that. But I'm glad to see that Sparks of Hope is getting some love after launch, because I do think that'll end up being successful down the line, which it does seem like that is the case. Now, for the last article here, I want to go over just a quick story that I saw on different YouTube videos and other things, and that's Zippo's rumor about the next 3D Mario. Now, I'm not going to go over everything, but essentially what he says here is that it's going to be an open world Mario game, that it's huge. It's up to 4 times bigger than Super Mario Odyssey, and Pauline and a bunch of other characters, Donkey Kong, are going to be involved, but he doesn't know how, and that's fine. He can say all that, but I'll say this, guys. These rumors that are popping up everywhere, these articles that are coming out, these, oh my gosh, I know this about the Nintendo Switch, oh, the Nintendo Switch 2 is this power, or whatever the case is, a lot of it is just nonsense. And the reason why I say that is that I'm not trying to pick on Zippo here. I'm not trying to pick on what he has to say. Maybe he does have something, but if you even just go back to last year and you look at his source or his sources, and he got information for Super Mario Bros. Wonder before launch, back in July, he said that he has information about this game that was launching in October. So it was very close to the launch after the first trailer was revealed. And he said that there's going to be Ice Mario, there's going to be Tanuki Mario, and there's going to be Mini Mario, plus a bunch of other power-ups and everything. And none of that was true. So I don't think his Mario sources or whatever he has is correct. Now, do I personally feel that there's going to be an open world Mario game in the same vein as Bowser's Fury, but way bigger? Yes, I think that that style works. And if Bowser's Fury was a big, huge Mario game and not more like a few hour experience, I think that people would have been way more crazy about it. Now, people were very excited about it, and Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury did incredibly well. A lot of people just bought the game just so they can play Bowser's Fury, so yeah, it did well. But if you blew that up to an actual full-length Mario game, that would have done incredibly well too. So I do feel that they are going to take that type of style and go forward with it, and I do feel that that was a test run for what they're going to do next when it comes to ideas, what players were thinking. I mean, it's a live test run, right? You can get that and you can make money off of it, right? For beta testing, essentially, for all of us. Although it was a polished experience, it was a very good experience. So I personally feel that that's what they're going to do going forward, but I think that a lot of this stuff that's just being said here or thrown out is just becoming ridiculous. People are just making up stuff at some point, and some people that are saying things weren't even right on stuff that was coming out that same year within a few months apart, yet we're to believe, okay, now that I have more information on the next Mario game, you weren't right on the last information that you got on the last Mario game. So I'm guessing that that is a not accurate or not credible source where he's getting that from. Otherwise, he would have nailed the stuff from Super Mario Bros. Wonder, but he didn't. But those are my thoughts, guys. What do you think about all of this that we talked about here? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell. We will see you for the next video. Peace.